Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SpecTalk. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, and we have a very special guest today. I'm always excited for all of them, but I'm really excited to get rolling on today's for a few different reasons that we'll touch upon in a second. Alex, let's jump to the next slide so we can introduce everybody. So, with you as always is Alex Baer, who's co-hosting here and our strategic account executive at RIB. Me, obviously, Dory Azar, licensed architect and strategic account executive at RIB. And today's very special guest is Beth Stroshen. And we're going to introduce Beth in just a second. But first, let's get through a little bit of housekeeping on the next slide here. So for today, there's a few things. Every week or every 2 weeks, every episode, we are doing our contest for you to submit any projects that you may have completed using SpecLink. So in the materials tab up in GoToWebinar here, there's a couple of downloads for you. One are the rules, contest rules, and how to submit your project for a chance to win some prizes for the next episode. And also, you'll find a download for Beth and her contact information and ways to get in touch with her, because I think you're going to see by the time we're done today, Beth's work is quite impressive, and her approach to her work is impressive as well. So you'll be able to get in touch with Beth through the information in the materials tab there. Next slide, please, Alex. So today, the title is called Link But Verify, and we're going to have Beth explain that in a second. But first, we're just run through the bullet points that we're going to be covering today. So how intelligent links accelerate spec writing and enhance accuracy. Shortcuts to efficiently use spec links linking capabilities, which is kind of the backbone of the whole platform. Best practices for customizing links to suit your project needs, and tips, we all love tips, for leveraging spec links, CSI standard content, and automated workflows. So before we get started, a quick introduction on Beth. So I'm thrilled to welcome Beth Stroshen. Beth is the founder and managing partner of Applied Building Information, a Seattle-based firm that has revolutionized how specifications are created and managed. With a deep commitment to aligning construction documents with clients' vision, ABI specializes in everything from master specifications to consulting on advanced challenges like Living Building Challenge, LEED certifications, and more. Beth and her team are known for their collaborative, solutions-oriented approach, ensuring projects of all sizes achieve success through precision and innovation. Beyond her work, Beth is a passionate advocate for the specifications community, pushing for continuous improvement and education across the industry. So one of the reasons I'm so excited to have Beth on today is, as I got into the specification world, her name just keeps popping up. Have you met Beth? Have you talked about Beth? Have you heard her speak? Have you chatted with her? And so in Houston a few weeks ago, Beth and I got to meet for the first time and have some very interesting conversations. I respect the heck out of you, Beth, and I'm so excited to have you on today. So welcome, and thanks for being here with us.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So today, the theme today of Link But Verify was your idea. So when we have our guests on, we kind of like to let them talk about what they're passionate about. So why don't you introduce the concept of Link But Verify to us and what that means to you, your specs and SpecLink?
Um, so just want to talk about, Link is in the name of SpecLink, and so it's one of the features within SpecLink. But it can be challenging. There's lots of different kinds of links. It may not act like you think it's going to, or you may have built links 3 years ago and you can't remember what it was. So with Link But Verify is how we build content in specifications so that we can link things together for automation, but then have tag reports so we can confirm that the linking did what we wanted. So if we make automation to make all the LEED stuff go away, we want to have tags so that we can run a report and confirm that it's gone and not just trust that it's going to work.
Interesting.
So that's how we use automation within SpecLink.
So you just use LEED there as one example. Can you give us maybe a specific story or scenario where linking is in effect when you're working on your project? Maybe an early example of LEED or another one.
So things, if you don't do LEED, there's lots of other instances of how this can be used. It can be for seismic requirements or anything that you want to put into your specification language so that you don't forget it or so that you use it consistently, but you want it to be off or not used in half or more of your projects. So the challenge with specifications is largely a logistical issue, right? So you want to put as much data as you can so that you don't lose learning that you have on projects. But the problem with that is if you get it in there, how do you get it out for the projects that it doesn't apply to? So you don't, have to publish a specification early and then, it has lead in it when it's not a lead job and the client freaks out. Or it has, Buy America information in it, or South Coast of Florida hurricane information in it. I mean, all of those is hard-won knowledge that you've learned on a project. You want to keep it, but where do you keep it? So linking the content together so that you can turn it on and off allows you to keep it in your master, but not risk having it on when you don't want it on. Or you can verify with reports that it's off when you want it to be off.
Right, and that's that verify part that you're talking about. Is you click one button, it's going to do a lot for you, but you still want to circle back and double check to make sure everything is doing what it's supposed to do. We can talk about SpecLink all day, or you can share your screen and show us just how you've got some of these links built. I think now would be a good time, and I think the viewers would be interested to see what your back-end networking of all that looks like, and how you go about sort of building out a project. No project halfway through becomes a seismic project, right? So you're making some of those big decisions early on, and yes, no, if then scenarios to start filling out your spec.
Yes. Okay. So I want screen 2, and I'm going to share. Okay. So this is SpecLink, and I want to make sure I get it to 175. So we can get that zoomed in. So this is an example, and this is my link but verify demo. So we can show an example of something that we've done. And one of the other philosophy things is I don't like magic that I don't understand, but I like nerd magic that I can explain and saves me a whole bunch of time. So
I've never heard the term nerd magic before.
Just 100 things just happened that I know what is happening. So starting with a section, we set them up with non-printing content at the top, so that when I open the section, I can see project configuration link and automation that's going to be acting on the section that I'm presented with. Because I may have, set up a configuration page previously, and I don't remember what automation has been set up. So I want to be presented at the top with what automation is acting on it right now. So in this example, the seismic is set to no. So there should be nothing seismic within this section. Other things the other example we're going to use is whether there's coastal hurricane information within a section. So looking at this section for hangars in Division 26, there should be no coastal and there should be no seismic, because we've got coastal is off and seismic is no. So then when we create links, all the links from here are in section links. And there's various different kinds of links within SpecLink, but the in section links are the easiest to build and they take the least amount of processing power. And if if something breaks and we have to fix cross-section links, it's easier to know that you have, a cross-section link for each one of these, but not if I have all of these seismic paragraphs that I have tagged here. Those are coastal. If I did it with all cross-section links and this section got broken, every single one of these tags would have to be, a cross-section link would have to be recreated.
Right.
But because we've got them coming into the non-printing text at the top that tells us what magic is happening, then it's only fixing a cross-section link to here. So that's just the ease of maintenance and ease of training.
Yeah, because training's important too, right? That's you're not working in isolation. You're have staff and other people working. Could you demonstrate for us one of your links? So if we turn this project into a coastal project or into a seismic.
Okay, so there's different ways to do that. If I'm within one section, I can turn it into a coastal project by clicking right here. Okay, and then I can scroll down and see that my CH, which is coastal hurricane, these paragraphs are now on.
There's a bit of a lag on the screen here, Beth. If you could just give us 1 sec there. Okay, I think you're on sequence 56 there.
Okay, sequence 56. So the links drive from the top, from coastal hurricane in 03 of this section, to this paragraph right here and this paragraph right here. So I can run a report that shows which coastal content is on right now, because I've got them tagged coastal hurricane. And
which is the verify piece, right?
Which is the verify piece. So I can link it to automate it and then tag it to verify.
Got it.
So I can run that report. The other thing that it allows me to do, and if you haven't used the reports, this is like one of my favorite pieces of SpecLink, why I use SpecLink. I can pick an individual tag report, and this is my CH. Oh, coastal. Trying to remember what I called this. Okay. I can run this report. I want to include the text because I want to read what text is pulling, but I don't need a cover sheet. So I can hit export.
To Word. Okay.
And like every specifier, I have multiple screens, so that's where it's going to come out. And then I download. And I can show my coastal hurricane report includes
fantastic
steel slotted support systems, non-metallic slotted support systems. Okay. Beautiful. So if I then go up here and say, no, this is not coastal. The coastal and not coastal usually doesn't go away or come back, but this is an example of lead goes away and comes back all the time.
Yeah, so, right.
Like, nope, we changed our mind. It's
concepts here. It's just concepts.
Yes. New kind of funding, Buy America has to come in. Old funding didn't need Buy America, so that turns on and off 6 times in a job. Okay, but then I say this is not coastal anymore. And I come down here, and these 2 tagged things are now off.
Right.
So now if I run this report, so I want to confirm that my coastal stuff is off. See, no active paragraphs are tagged for this report. So I've verified that my coastal stuff is off.
Okay.
So
I imagine you could do this for all kinds of
automation. So the other thing that you can do, or go ahead, do you have a question?
No, I'm just building off this because I do have some questions because I know we have some. There's a lot of current SpecLink users on today, but there's also some that are not SpecLink users yet. So I wanted to talk about where you would rank these. Are these sort of more beginner type things that could be linked? Like, is linking kind of a beginner thing? Is it more of an intermediate thing? Is it an advanced thing? Like, could somebody jump in and start making these links happen relatively quick and easy, in your opinion?
Yes. So linking, well, the bulk of SpecLink or any other software is a bit like, playing golf. You can learn how to play golf in one day. You can spend a lifetime getting better at golf. I've played golf about 12 times. I am not good at golf, but I understand the methodology. And if something served me to get exceptionally good at golf, I could do that because I understand what the intent is and what I'm trying to do. So you could learn enough linking to provide value to yourself in a day. Easy. Okay. There's some magic things about links because there's lots of different kinds. So here, there's paragraph, choice, and cross-section. So does it act on a choice? Does it act on a paragraph? Does it go from one section to another? So that's a choice that you make. There's the color of links, green, yellow, and red. Green turns content on. Okay. Yellow gives you a little yellow flag, but it doesn't do anything to your content.
Right.
It gets your attention and says you may want this. Red will turn it off or outrank a green link. So if there's a green link and a red link, or if there's 12 green links and one red link, the red link always wins. Okay. Cool. But if it's manually turned on, a red link won't turn it off. Because human intervention outranks automation. So this is where a lot of that, okay, what is your plan and what do you want it to do? And then that will tell you, okay, what kind of link, what kind of tag do you need? Do you need 2 or 3, 1? Can you do it with one particular kind of link, or do you need 2 different kinds of links to accomplish what you're doing? That's where, because we've been playing this game of golf for 15 years, we can provide more guidance than you will figure out, stumbling through it by yourself.
What is the SpecLink equivalent of slamming my putter on the ground and throwing it into the woods?
Continuing to use Word.
That's true.
Continuing to use Word documents is what the equivalent of that is.
That's what gets people to bend their putter over their knee and to snap their clubs in half.
Yes. So saying Beth, this is hard, I'm going to continue to use Word. I think that is that.
I really like the golf analogy because as somebody that plays golf maybe twice per year, you can learn how to play golf in a day, but you can forget how to play golf by the very next day. So yeah, the links, that's a great analogy. They help too.
And links and golf too, right? Like this is, I don't know if you realize that, but this is good, Beth. You're on the ball.
Well, I'm going to get out of my depth in golf analogies really early, but I know some people that I can ask for help.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll if anybody has any good golf analogies and wants to put them in the chat, by all means. Let's jump over to a quick question here from Frank. Frank is asking, in my use of SpecLink, I have not used reporting. Can you go over a 10,000 foot view or a 30-second overview of what reporting is used for? How could you demonstrate that for us in 30 words or less? Okay.
So reporting allows you to see your content across sections. So plain and simple. Just like, you swing this stick at the ball and you hit it that way towards that cup. So that's the big picture. So specifications, especially in Word, are designed to be viewed one section at a time. Great. But if you want to see, do you have consistent language across sections? So classic example, if you're using RIB's content or any other content, you have 3 waterproofing sections on your job. One for the planters, one for the below grade, and one for, because you got a green roof. Do you have the same submittals in all 3 of those waterproofing sections? Logically, if they're equally important, you would have the same submittals. But specifications, like a wardrobe built over 3 decades, don't always link together. Or you got 2 of them from RIB and you built one yourself and one more came from a product manufacturer. You can't see what you've got consistently across, and trying to open 4 sections and look at them, you can do about 3 times before your head explodes. But if you tag them, you can see that language across. So as in one of the examples that we did was seismic, so that we could see my seismic language is steel studs, slot, or support system, space, comply with this, non-metallic coatings. So this is something we could see. Do we have the lead submittals the same in all the sections? If you're working on a project that is your first Buy America versus Buy American versus Build America, Buy America. Okay, those are 3 fundamentally different things. So the way I, as a specifier, take that on is I, start with the first thing and give it my solid best guess, which, the first time I do something, I'm lucky if I get a solid C+. So then I tag that as my Build America, Buy America. Well, I go to a class and I read a book, and my next set of language that I put in, my interior sections is slightly different. Okay, how do I go back and remember which sections did I put it in, and what language did I put there, and is it consistent? If I just tag it, then it just pukes out the report and I've got it all written. I don't have to type it. I don't have to keep track of it. I don't have to read my writing from a notepad. It's just all there. The other thing that I use it for is having a coordination report, like there's a bunch of stuff in specifications you have to coordinate with other people. Like an overhead coiling door is an architectural thing. The electrical rough-in, like what voltage you want to pick, is an electrical thing. Mm-hmm. So if you tag all of I got to talk to the electrical guy about that as electrical coordination or just consultant coordination or something like that, you can do that in your master, and then on every single one of your jobs, you could export out that report, send the project manager who doesn't actually know anything about anything to the meeting, and say, okay, ask electrical these questions.
Right.
And you don't have to type them.
Right. Because they're all ready to go.
Correct. And it also tells you what section it came from. So trying to make a list of questions you need the project manager to ask at the meeting, and then try to keep track of did they answer, and then try to find where you put the information in again. This is one of those logistical issues of specifications that is really one of the challenges of the job that this is a way to help solve. Right. And you can also tag submittals and things like that.
Excellent. We have a question from Amy that came in, and this might be a quick demo that we can do in 2 seconds. Just asking, how do you create a link? Can you demonstrate just a quick, either one of you, maybe Alex or Beth, whoever's,
yes.
You guys want to fight over the screen time?
Okay, so cancel. So this used to be a 12-step process, but now it's faster. So if anyone thinks that SpecLink isn't evolving, it is. Yes. Okay, so the way that you can now do things, so say I want to turn off definitions, because sometimes definitions are annoying. So I can, like, what am I going to link? Okay, if part 1 is on, okay, so let's say if part 1 is on, then I want definitions to be on. Okay. I say I want a link to part 1. So I have the link column open. I click plus a link.
And that just pops up when you hover your cursor there.
So if you've got your columns showing and it's link, it will hover. If you hover in the link column, it will give you the add a link here. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that gets you to summary. So I'm making a link from the base of 0006. Okay. There are types of the vocabulary of links. Okay. When summary is on, then something happens. So that means summary is the source, and then the something happening is the target. So I want to add a target link for definitions,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a paragraph type link that says when this paragraph is on, 06, then this paragraph is on, paragraph to paragraph.
And
And
did
I'm
you
going to
just
say,
drag that over?
yes, you
Yeah. So
click here and drag over there. That's
yeah.
how
So
you make
you
a link.
just a bit of a lag on the screen. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing it, but you
Okay.
click on the 0012 and
I
then
can
drag
click,
that.
I click on 12 and left click and drag over to this line right here.
Right.
And I can make multiple links at the same time. So now I've said when sequence 0006 is on, sequence 0012 and 0020 are on. Okay, so I can hit save. So now you can see 006 is on.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've got a green bar that says automation has turned this on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the green bar means. Now down here is an example where I've got a blue box. This is human intervention. The green bar is automation. So I can't use automation to turn this off because a human has turned it on. So if I want the automation to work here, I have to turn off the human intervention. So that's one of the, magic things. So to test what happens here, summary once 0006 I turned off.
Mm-hmm.
Now 0012 is off,
Mm-hmm.
and now 0020 is off.
And why don't you explain to us the blue dots? Because I know a lot of people starting out sometimes see the blue dots and get a little confused by those.
Okay, so blue dots are human intervention in the off, that is currently off. So if I've got a blue box is default on,
Mm-hmm.
and a human did that. If I want all of the, if this article is on, I want this content to be on, then I can turn this on manually as a human and then just control this. I could do the same thing by controlling this with a link and then making a green link to turn this on, and a green link to turn this on, and a green link to turn this on, and a green link to turn this on. But that would be exponentially more links than I need than just turning it on as a human and controlling the article. So it's just efficiency.
Awesome. Thank you for showing that to us, Beth. It's good to see. It's interesting because you're explaining it in a way that I've never heard it explained before. It's leading to the same solution, but it's a different perspective. So it's cool to hear. So the linking, the extent that you do your linking, where is that? How has that saved you? Like, what is it doing to your QC process? What is it doing to the confidence that you're issuing your specs with? Because you're saying you're still circling back and link but verify, right? You're doing all the linking, but you're still circling back to verify it all. So, but at some point, it's still giving you net time savings and net confidence in what you're putting out. So, what is it doing to your QC process and your output times, and even your verifying times, which would be your QC process, I guess. But what has it done to your overall workflow?
So what it has done to our workflow and what it forces us to do. So we can have, if we look at a requirement set, is what we'll call, Buy America, LEAD, or coastal language. We're going to say that should be consistent, and this is the language I'm going to use. And maybe RIB has that language, and maybe they don't. Or maybe RIB has that language in 2 sections, but not the 10 that I know I need it in. So I can tag it and review it while I'm working on my master or working on it on that first section or that first project where I need it, and get it refined and consistent. And then I can export a report and say, okay, now that we've got this refined and consistent in this project, now we can add this to our master with automation. And being able to add it and control it with automation, it requires me to train people less. Because the challenge with specifications and how the deductive process that we've created, and SpecLink says we're not deductive, we're additive, but you still have to put all the words in SpecLink first to turn them off or to turn them on. I mean, the words have to be there.
Right.
So like a half-finished specification has 2,000% of the content that you need. Because you've got coastal stuff and something in Iowa.
Right.
And you've got lead and something for Kansas that will never be lead. Except for a couple projects. And then, or you've got the stuff from, 3 versions of the building code for Texas. Texas is big enough that different parts have 3 different versions of the building code. So those are things that you can get all of that information in. But the problem with putting it all in is, what if you've got somebody who doesn't know that you have to take it all out? And it just gets too cumbersome if you have to explain line by line why it has to come out.
Okay.
So,
when it comes to the energy input to making these things happen, I imagine that you didn't just hit a home run on the first project that you set all these links up on, and you're just sort of working with that. You've had to build it and gradually improve. Each project gets a little bit better than the previous project and whatnot. Could you speak to the workload or the amount of effort that you've had to put in to make those things happen?
Well, it's kind of like circling back to the golf analogy. So I've been in business for myself for 11 years.
Okay.
And before that, I worked for a firm with SpecLink for 3 years. So I've been playing this version of golf for 15 years. So almost 14. So the thing that you do is like, okay, what is the little piece that you can add? And then add the next thing. And the way that we've made some stumbles. Like the first time we did a living building pilot project. So this is where you vet everything. And we weren't doing the vetting, but we were tracking the vetting. So we thought, oh, well, this is going to be the next big thing. So we're going to put all this information into our master. We've done one of those projects in the last 8 years. So
not a good investment or return on
now
investment.
We're yanking that stuff out because it's one of those things that varies dramatically each iteration you do. So what we'll do now is kind of following this philosophy of the first time you do something, if you really pay attention, you're going to get a solid C+, and the second time you do it, you're going to get a, B minus A or A minus B plus, and you'll really have it dialed in by the third time you do it. So we'll do the tagging in the project that it's in, so that it gets project tested. And then once we get it refined to go out the door, then we're like, okay, now we understand what we're doing. And then we'll put it into our master with automation. So that's how we end up with these, unfinished linking and tagging projects all over our master. That's really hard to, sort through. So it's.
So do you just go back and rebuild them in your master?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the thought work and the consistency and the figuring out what's right, that's the hard part.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Put these 27 paragraphs in these 40 sections with these 200 links. I can have somebody do that in 2 days. Right. The right paragraphs in the right sections linked the right way. that's the thing that, the thought process that takes time. And part of what we've done is figure out, okay, how do we organize our ways through that, so that you can not lose track of the effort you've done as, your head goes underwater for 3 deadlines, and then you're like, what was I doing? So.
Hey, Alex, what are you hearing from? I mean, you've been with the company a very long time. How are you seeing people using links and tags? Are you getting any feedback on how people are how firms are implementing that or what excites them during demos?
Yeah, I think on the linking side, I mean, anything that, it's kind of all about pairing things together. So, um, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but
Golf. Golf is the
there's
only analogy today.
okay, so golf. So, if we're, on the green, I need to make sure that I have my putter, and I need to, measure, the strength of my swing based on how far I am to the hole. So there's the, starting off on the green, and then, there's other choices. What club to use, and how much, umph do I want to, put into my swing. Those are two things associated with one sort of underlining scenario. So, in the world of specifications, you have literally hundreds of thousands of decisions that could potentially be made. So
Hmm.
the linking is there to be your friend. So as you determine, delineate these sort of relationships that are occurring from project to project, you can, cement that into your Office Master specifications through the linking, so that you have a higher degree of confidence in the outcome of your specifications from a consistency standpoint, from project to project, and that saves time. It also gives our clients back time, to focus on the core sort of key decisions and design decisions in the project.
Right.
So it's a little bit more freedom back to your creative thinking. I think from from a perspective of specs makes it a little bit more fun. So now um, the tagging feature, uh, Beth has wowed me today. So I have not seen some of these, yeah, methods to date. The verification piece, the ability to kind of extract information to survey, or have project managers provide information back, or to better coordinate with your mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers. So that is really cool. I'm really wowed by that, and I will definitely bring those conversations into my meetings moving forward, because Beth, you kind of shown me some things here that I've not, no one's thought of, and nor have I. So
So one other thing that we do with tagging that may be useful. So if anyone's worked for a big institutional client, or maybe a small client, that gives you a list of 27 things you're supposed to incorporate into your specs. Okay. You incorporate them all in, and then that takes them about 100 years to back check them all. So one of the things that we did, and another kind of magic hidden thing about linking, is yes, I'm still sharing. This example is, so say design equipment supports capable of supporting something or other. If I make, increase the indent, if I make a child to this, and I say, owner comment 27, add dozen cookies to this paragraph.
someone's got Thanksgiving on the brain.
Hey,
No kidding.
add dozen cookies required. Okay, so we don't want this owner comment 27, add dozen cookies to this paragraph to show, but SpecLink gives you the ability, non-printing, I can make a non-printing tag. So my owner comment, 12 dozen cookies, add, cookies to this paragraph, I can make in non-printing. But it's on. So if it's on, I can get it in a report. So let's say I also tag this CO for coordination. Or actually I had OC for owner coordination for this very special client. Owner comment, that's what we had. Okay, so if I now do an owner comment report, individual tag, OC,
You can really see the amount of effort you've put into this, Beth. Like, kudos to you for thinking this through and really making it work for you, which I think is the strength of SpecLink itself, right? The fact that you can sort of bend it and mold it to do exactly what you need it to do and how you need it to happen.
Sometimes, but occasionally I run into stuff where I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing, and I've run into this problem, and the support guys are like, I have no idea why you did that. I never would have envisioned that you would have done that. So
I'm looking for the support
example,
guys in the comments now to agree or disagree with that.
So here, and yes, because I'm a specifier, I have a big screen that then makes stuff tiny. So here you can see I can run my owner comment report, and the last part is owner comment 27, add dozen cookies. See, look, dozen cookies required is now in this paragraph. So that makes it easier for the person who is back checking content to be able to find it, and for you to be able to confirm, okay, I got all 100 of them, and I can show where I added all 100 of them. So
Right.
This is another way that you can use that.
Yeah, God, we could do a whole thing just on reports,
Yes.
I think,
Okay.
Beth, if I could mention too, I think one of the things that I think is cool with SpecLink on the reporting is, so the non-printing, that's a great example there. And I know some firms like the non-selectable piece, and what they do is actually turn something on and then mark it as non-selectable. So what that does is, I don't know if there's like if you were to able to maybe select paragraph 6 for just temporarily and mark that as non-selectable,
Yes.
or any paragraph for that matter.
So there's both non-printing and non-selectable. So
Right.
non-printing is I want this to be on so I can see it in reports and that kind of stuff, but I don't want it to print. Okay, that's one thing. And then there's non-selectable, and that is also non-printing, or I can't remember, is that non-printing, or it seems like we tag them both.
I think yeah, I think it does not, it still will print.
Okay.
Unless you choose non-printable, I'm sorry.
Correct. So non-selectable means it's forced on unless you change this tag. So if you've got new people that are editing specs or something you forget and want to always have on, you could make it non-selectable, and it will always be on or it will always be off, and I can't change it. So if I want summary on always, I could turn this on, and then I can make this non-selectable. That means I have to go through 2 steps. No, non-selectable does make it non-printing, which is what the little dots mean. So you have to go through 2 steps to get that back or change its status. So that's kind of the way that you can add guardrails to your specifications, either for, when you're specifying your own stuff with a head cold or when you're having people review things. The other thing that we use the tagging for a lot is, what are the 20 things that you can look at as an experienced spec writer to know that the 25-year-old PA that's editing these specs has or has not paid attention, right? So are there still these 12 blanks, and have they added the state that it's supposed to be in? Have they filled in the address for the owner and the project name so we don't look dumb on the first page of the specs?
Right, right.
So if you tag those, then you can run that report out of any project and see, okay, this one's paying attention. Excellent. That should be able to go out the door. Okay, this one has the 5 blanks are still blank and there's no address. So you have really quick way to see, what those things are. The first tagging that I ever did is when I worked for a large firm and I sat between, the men's room and the lunchroom. And one of the partners who cared about 5 things on the project: the brick configuration, what the color of the brick was, the color on the entrance stairs, and what the colors of the metal panel were and profile. Great. So he would walk by and ask me, okay, on this project, what color is it now? Because we just changed it. I'm like, okay, no idea how to do that. But I could run I called it the 10,000 foot view because, it does print on the top. So put something diplomatic. So I could run that report and say, hey, this is what I'm currently showing. Is this still correct? And he could say, oh, no, we changed that last week.
He would never say that though, right? That's just an example because they never change their mind, right?
Oh, no, they change it all the time. It's just what is it currently showing versus what is it now? And if I said, oh, it's in the specs, you should go check, that partner would never read the specs, let alone open the software. But if I can get it into one page, hey, this is what we currently have. Let me know if any of those things change.
And then you look like a rock star for being able to output it so fast.
Yes. And half the challenge of specifications is keeping up. Right? So in the universe of the project that revolves around the sun, we are the third ring of Saturn. Is kind of where specs are. So much stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then it gets to specs. You're like, okay, this is what I currently have. They're like, oh, it hasn't been that for like 5 months.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. So I'm gonna.
Hey, that gives all the reason for needing efficiencies in specs. You've got you're kind of the last to know a lot of times, but the deadline change for you. So
with the right platform, you get up to speed quicker. I just want to take a second to thank everyone for sticking around for so long. We still have a little more to go, but I do want to remind everyone that if you are not a SpecLink user yet, but want to have a demo done with Alex or I, or learn more about the platform, by all means, you could reach out to us in the materials tab up there. Our contact information is up there. We'd love to show you around SpecLink in more of a one-on-one situation as well. So I just wanted to make that available to everybody and just make sure everybody knows. And also, if you are a Canadian spec writer or write specs in Canada, stick around to the end because we have an announcement coming for that as well. So all my Canadians, hold on. All my Canadians need to stick around a little bit to the end. There we go. Beth, I have another question for you. Sort of looking forward in your SpecLink journeys, what is the next thing that you would like to, the next advancement you'd like to make in your spec writing? Whether it's a linking thing or a tagging thing, you must have a to-do list of, one day when we've got time, I'd really like to X. Like, what is the next thing that you'd love to make SpecLink do for you?
The next thing that's on our horizon is getting coastal and hurricane content consistent.
Okay.
And also the Buy America, Build America, anyway, the 3 of them, Buy America, Buy American, and Buy America, Build America, which are all 3 different, getting enough knowledge so that we can automate that. And the other thing that we currently have in progress is getting embodied carbon content within our specifications so that when we've got projects that need that, we can turn it on or off. So both of those, as much as you think, oh yeah, whether it's built in America or whether they care about embodied carbon, it is still a performance criteria about a material that we have to track. And largely those 2 things are the same. The way that we handle them is the same. So getting those requirement sets reviewed and QC'd and consistently in specifications is kind of our next thing. The other thing I want to make sure that we cover, where we talked about, I can do coastal hurricane here, and I can do seismic no here.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing so this is acting on one section at a time. If we know, whether it's coastal hurricane is a global choice for a project. It's not like, it only impacts one section.
Right.
So the way that we've built that is we have a project configuration page. And so this is where we can make those choices
Love this.
one place and then have it cascade through the rest of it.
This is, why did we wait 51 minutes to see this page? This is, to me, this is like the tee box on the first hole, right? This is kind of where it all starts, right?
Yeah, but you have to care about golf and understand how hard it is before you're like, oh, this is next level magic stuff. Okay.
Or sometimes somebody just drags you to a golf course because it's a tournament and there's, a hot dog at the turn,
Yes. It's an event. We need you there. Okay, I will show up.
It's a fundraiser, yeah.
Golf badly to make somebody else feel good about themselves. That's how I golf.
That's awesome.
But just to clarify for people that are maybe newer to SpecLink, is this something that actually drives links to different technical sections and brings on maybe certain sections or content to coordinate sort of from a high level?
Yes. So the way that where we have, so this is 100% what we have built. So SpecLink has the tool that allows us, that facilitates this, but they don't do this anywhere. So, so if we go to our,
but this is also highly personalized, right? Like it would be hard to make, how to say, like anybody who's going to use
generic?
a scene like that. Yeah, it's, if it's too generic, it's not going to work for everybody. If it's too specific, it's not going to work for everybody. So it does seem like a page you would need to build yourself.
Well, you could build, SpecLink could build general things like this. Okay, so we put it in the administrative folder way down at the bottom. So if you're an architectural person, you may not even know that this exists. Mm-hmm. So in the administrative folder, we make a project configurator. So we build this here.
Cool. The
section is going to be on because it has to be on to make links happen. And we make it non-printing. Okay, and this is highly customized. Yeah, but lots of companies have commercial project and healthcare projects and government projects. So it's not that. What these things mean to each firm, that is highly personalized. Okay, so here is where our project-specific attributes. And these things are red because, people get really distracted by colors because I imported this into a demo project. So the section IDs that drive these are now disconnected, and that's why it's unhappy. So that's why they're red. It's fine. But things that we have in our project-specific attributes are seismic, no, coastal hurricane, high altitude, stuff like that. So what we can do is here, I can say, yes, it is coastal hurricane, turn on. And here you can see we've built coastal hurricane, cross-section link, which is a target. When this is on, this cross-section link happens. It's cross-section, it says CS, and you hover over it, it tells you. So if I go to my, what is this section? 26. My demos and hangers. Here's my coastal hurricane. I have to hit refresh. SpecLink does not automatically refresh forever in the background because then that would take up time. Okay, so look, green bar now means that the automation has made coastal hurricane turn on here. Okay. So if I had made 50 cross-section links, it would have turned on coastal hurricane in 50 different sections by me clicking that one button. So everyone wants a lead button. Click it on, click it off. You can build a lead button.
Okay. That's inspiring, honestly, that you can have all that set up and just kind of um, just sort of build your project. I think that's so smart and such a powerful way to have your project set up. That's really, we're seeing the applause and the love coming in through the comments here. I love Frank's comments here. Beth is presenting things that are way over my head, but I'm picking up little things, so that is a good thing. That's a fantastic thing. Beth, this is yeah, I'm gonna go with inspiring today because this is not um this is what it can do for you, right? And these are big firm, these are small firm solutions. Like, these are things that are just going to save you time, increase the accuracy of what you're doing, and decrease your output time. So I love your ability to export reports or just quickly organize information for the scenario that requires it. It's really something to strive for, and that's really, really cool.
And
um
Yeah,
it's
Dory,
something important.
sorry,
You can,
I have to mention, you said something perfect the other day, which was that SpecLink decreases your mental RAM for specifications. So I think that's such a good analogy because these links are helping to, bring together. Of course, there's a verification process, but when you've got something in the background that helps you, bet whether your best, worst, busiest, least busy day with the specifications, and that's done so through the links. It's really, really powerful tool for our users.
Yeah, and let's
and
be
the
honest,
thing that
there's
you can
always a
do,
verification process. It's not just
yes,
SpecLink
100%.
that's making you do that. Everything's going to have a verification process.
and the thing that you can do is when you're so busy you can't breathe, you can think about what automation can I build when things are slow so that I
Hmm.
can breathe in this situation next time.
Hmm.
So that's how a lot of this is built. How do we plan it? And then when someone's slow, they build it.
Hmm.
And then we plan it while we're busy. And then when someone's slow, they build it. Is how this can work. And so it's just a way that you can operate. You can automate to operate on your worst day like it's your best day. The how do you not forget to turn off all the fire rated stuff, right? So
Hmm.
you're sitting in a meeting and someone says there's no fire rated nothing in this job. Like,
Hmm.
okay, fire rated jip is gone, fire rated doors are gone. You're going
Right.
to forget the fire rated bucket in the fire extinguisher cabinet section.
Hmm.
You're going to forget the fire rated in there's something in toilet partitions if you're going into a fire rated wall. So those are the places that you're just going to forget.
Yeah. Beth,
That
we might
you
need
can
a part two with you. This is,
hmm?
I feel like for the last 60 minutes, we've been building momentum. There's been no project like arc. We're still like skyrocketing here. And I know we're like down to less than 2 minutes of time. So I hate to wrap it up at this point, but I think we need to. But I don't know. Raise your hand if you want to see Beth again, because this is awesome. Um, Thank you. This is so good. Alex, can we jump back to the PowerPoint real quick? Look at all the love in the comments. Beth, are you seeing that? Look at that.
Thank you, everybody.
Man.
Wow.
Oh,
Hey, everybody wants to learn from someone else's pain and suffering.
yes, that's yeah, preferably to feel the least amount of pain possible. So, um, yeah, so there's a couple of closing slides that I just want to go over. One of them is about the training that's available. So I know there's a lot of talk in the comments today about how do I do this? Can we redo that? SpecLink does have some training available, and I know if you're a current SpecLink user, the guide menu is going to be your friend here. So we do have 1 hour and 3 hour training sessions available, as well as one-on-one stuff if you're interested in that. But next slide, please. If you did want to work with Beth on a project or your next project or whatever project, Beth can help you with all kinds of things, from reviewing and coaching how a spec link can be modified to benefit your practice, pre-editing some of the RIB content, importing custom content, tagging and linking for custom reports and automation. As you saw today, Beth is no slouch in this department whatsoever. So that's so impressive, and you'd be learning from one of the best for sure. Next week, guys. So this is for my Canadian friends here and anybody who's interested. I'm just going to put this here. We are doing a special Canadian edition of SpecTalk on Tuesday, November 26th. So if you have, because we might not have covered this, but SpecLink does have a very robust Canadian catalog as well. So if you are interested in specs on the north side of the border, if you are Canadian and doing projects here, an American firm who is looking or is doing projects in Canada, by all means, register for the November 26th one. Our special guest will be Jason Hicks, who is our Canadian content specialist here at RIB SpecLink, and it will be awesome. And I don't know, maybe I'll wear a hockey jersey, or I don't know, maybe I'll do something super cliche, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll decide then. But Alex, thank you as always for
Yes,
for
yeah, and I just want to emphasize too, for anybody who is interested that is not a current SpecLink user, we'd absolutely love for you to take a
yes.
closer look at SpecLink. So we do have a free trial that we offer, and if you scan this barcode here or go to our website, you'll be able to connect with us, and we can set you up with that free trial. We can also set you up with an online demonstration. So again, for those that are maybe looking at this for the first time, some of our users, the biggest thing they'll say is, why didn't I use this 10 years ago? It has absolutely revolutionized some of our clients, day to day, month to month workflows, giving you back a lot of bandwidth and increasing the productivity of your spec. So thank you, Dory.
Yeah, no problem. And Beth, thank you so much for joining us today. I don't think we're done with you. This was good. I think there's a lot of advanced topics that were covered here. So hopefully everybody's leaving inspired, and we will see everybody hopefully on Tuesday for our special edition of Spec Talk coming up next. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
You.